at the Peggy Guggenheim Foundation here in Venice with a beautiful exhibition about Mark Tobey. Here we have the curator of the exhibition, Debra. Could you tell us why this exhibition, with these white paintings and this minimal way he had to deal with art?
Well, Tobey was an artist who emerged in the mid-1940s. He had his first exhibition in New York in 1944, and it was an exhibition that attracted widespread critical discussion, in part because it posited his white writing, which was a radical way to rethink abstraction. Tobey, 10 years earlier, was the first artist of his generation who traveled to Asia. He went to China and to Japan, and there he studied very carefully the calligraphic scripts and languages that make up much Asian painting. He comes back from that trip and he rethinks modernism, and he merges these linear scripts with aspects of post-cubism. After 1944, we know that Jackson Pollock saw the show, who went back to his own studio and created his all-over compositions. But unlike Pollock, whose work attained a kind of monumentality and scale, which was very spontaneous and gestural in style, Tobey, for the most part, until 1960, remained an easel painter, and his work, unlike Pollock's, was very carefully pondered. It came out of very deep rumination and drew on aspects of his own interior life. In 1958, however, Tobey exhibits at the American Pavilion at the Venice Biennale alongside of another abstract expressionist, Mark Rothko. And he rethinks the size of his works, and he creates large-scale canvases so that he can compete with the growing reputations of these new American artists.
Because, again, Rothko too was very meditative.
Yes, very meditative, yes, but Rothko created these large floating triangles, whereas Tobey's work is made up of these intricate lines of swarms and mazes that, again, are the result of his very careful plodding. There is nothing spontaneous about these works. And unlike the work of Rothko, whose work after 1950 became rather repetitive, the same floating rectangles appear in his work, there is enormous variety in Tobey's brushwork. And you'll see that it alternates between the minuscule and the broad stroke.
And we can even see here, what is about the white writing? Because he started as an expressionist. We have seen the first two canvases, but still, even when it was this expressionism in Tobey was different from the others in America.
It was very different from the other American artists in that it was always connected to his faith. He was a member of the Baha'i movement, and he equated the white writing or the luminosity in these works, again, with aspects of his religion.
And what was the changement that he had from the expressionism and the white writing and the connection with the Oriental way, that is similar to Cy Twombly in a very different way?
In a very different way. I mean, that's a good comparison, because Twombly is also somebody who is engaged in writing in his work, but Tobey's writing emanates from a very conscious study of Asian painting, unlike that of Cy Twombly. There were very few other artists of this generation who made a conscious study of what happened within China and within Japan. Again, Tobey was the first artist of his generation to travel to Asia, and while others like Franz Klein had also equated their work with the linear aspects of Asian calligraphy, he had never experienced that painting in situ firsthand.
And another last one is about light. That is even the title of the exhibition,
yes.
Threading Light.
Well, Tobey was deeply attracted to urban environments. Even though he had a base in Seattle, he spent a great deal of time in New York, and he was attracted to the electricity of the city, to its neon lights, especially at night, and hence this reference to Threading Light, the title of the exhibition that appears throughout the show.
Thank you.
Sure.